Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tsung Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dukden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, the 5 Dhyani Tathagatas and Yellow Jambala. Sumu, Tanzan Katso, Tutan Siddhi. All Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, how do you do?
Aishiteru Sharange Hola amigo que quiero mucho Sukoin Ichiban Kimochi Jumi Yapi Purin Purin Konbanwa那今天是修这个真巴拉防财神。
Today we practice Yellow Jambala.
在修法当中啊。
And during the practice, I close my eyes.
坐在这个椅子上
But interesting, sitting on this chair here, it feels as if it's a bed. I almost fall asleep. I was almost falling asleep. And the Dharma throne at the Rimbu temple, I rarely feel this way. But every time I sit here, the drowsiness, the sleeping bug always attack me. Cannot open my eyes. And I have to ask all the deities behind me. And the group practice tonight is Yellow Jambala. So there's a joke. A baby who was just born and he has not opened his eyes. So what could they do? And they said, ask an elderly man, and the elderly man said, just take 2 coins and then clang them together. And then he would open his eyes to see the money. What is it called? There are two kinds of
已经到
lotteries
3亿多
that
美金，
nobody has
3
won.
亿多美金，
It has reached over 300 million US dollars. Two kinds,
有哈、哦。
right?
现在有没有人中？没有人中啊，3亿多哎。
Anybody over
照
300
理说
million
3亿多没有人中，今天又是修真巴
And
拉法会，
today we practice yellow jambala.
而且还有一个同门对我讲，
And there was a disciple
如
that
果
told
他中
me
了，
if
他要
he
分
or
一半
she wins the lottery, she will give Grandmaster half.
照理说啊，今天
So,
晚上应该精
in
神很好。
principle, I should be very awake tonight.
想到啊，
But little did I know.
1亿5千万吧，
So that would be 150 millions.
还缴税啊，
But you have to pay
缴税
tax.
不算。他要分给我1亿5千万呢。
So she's going to give me 150
我应该在
millions.
这个时候应该祈祷
At
才
this
对，
time, I should have
要
prayed,
认真的祈求，
seriously praying,
因为真巴拉，对不对？
because it's Jambala.
应该精神很好才对啊。
I should be very energetic.
我向那个真巴拉祈求，
So let me pray to Jambala.
这一次好像是今天开讲，是不是？
The opening days today? Oh, it's already. Nobody won?
还不晓得啊。
Don't know yet.
看看手机，
Check the internet.
还没出来。OK， 他讲说还没有。
It's not drawn yet
是今天开了，
today,
但是结果还不知道。
but we don't know the results yet.
我不能瞌睡啊，
So I shouldn't be drowsy.
人家要给我一半嘞。
Someone's about to give me half.
这个菩萨应该听到啊，真巴拉也要听
So
到啊。
Bodhisattvas must have heard, and Jambala too.
而且有人梦到，
And someone
有人梦
dreamt
到药师经，
of Golden Mother,
也有人梦到财神，
and someone dreamt of the wealth
也
deities.
有人梦到财神。
Someone dreamt of Golden
希望
Mother.
啊，这个
I hope
降落我们
that
国中的在西雅图的同门，
the lottery prizes will fall on the Seattle disciples in Seattle.
阿弥陀佛，我
阿弥陀佛。
本人没有买，但是要分给我一半的那个人有买。那个
I didn't buy, but the person that's going to give me half
这次不中
bought the lottery.
应该还有下一次。
It's okay if you don't win this time, you will win next time.
啊，我自己感觉到我们生活中的同门当中啊，是有人中，
I feel that someone among the two Buddha disciples have won lottery
因为有很奇怪的一种现象出来，
because something
是已经有人
strange
其
happened.
他的讲，
Someone has won
这
some
次3
lotteries,
亿多的有两个，
and there are two lotteries with over 300 millions price.
但是中的不是很多，
But they
但是
didn't win a lot.
虽然不多了，那位同门
Even when it's not that much,
在
that disciple
1/10吧，
give about 1/10,
送了
to Grandmaster. Give about 1/10 to Grandmaster. So thank you to that person. But this time, they will give half. $150 million. If I win $100 million, I will disappear from thin air. I will not come to the group practices anymore. I will not go to homas anymore. Because for me, sitting on this lotus throne, do you know? Seattle Lichang Temple is so stingy. But I cannot say how much. So with the hatha and offering and accept, I just feel so pitiful. And Rainbow Temple is slightly better. But Seattle Lichang Temple, and during the pandemic, we have to pass our days with great difficulties. So a little bit, just a small gesture. So if I win $150 million, I will. Before the Dharma teaching, I would like to share a joke. Yesterday, Mom took me on a marriage arrangements date. And I met two girls. One has great figure, but her face is, it's barely, and with the protruding teeth. So whenever she smiles, oh my God. But the other one, her face is like a goddess. But she's fat. The face is skinny and beautiful, but the body is fat and heavy. So I kept thinking, which one should I choose? Because it's a major point in my life. I cannot just conclude haphazardly, so I could not sleep all night. But this morning, my mom got home from the market and told me, nobody liked me. So marriage arrangements are both ways. So don't be so anxious. This time, for the American lottery, the result is not out yet. But don't let your hearts out yet. Asked back from Taiwan, Grandmaster Amitabha, because a family member is severely having severe hearing loss at his or her moment of death, when we chant Amitabha or mantra or sutra, can he or she hear it? When alive, he's wearing hearing aids, so it's okay. But if he cannot hear, should we have him wear hearing aids? So I would like to tell this Lian Hua Bo Han, no problem. No problem. A person, when they're unconscious, when they're drowsing or unconscious, their soul has appeared. So the soul or consciousness is the most spiritual or accurate. At that moment, even when you talk further away or outside, they can hear. They can hear any sound. And he can see. Haven't you heard that they say someone is sleeping on his bed? It's in the coma or subconscious, unconscious condition, and his soul consciousness has floated out, and he could look down at his own body lying on the sick bed surrounded by his family members, and he could hear all the words that they are talking about. And then the consciousness returned to his body, and then he opened his eyes again. And then he iterated his experience. So when he was about to die, his soul was above, outside his body, and looking down at his own body, and he could hear anything and see anything. With the eyes closed, wherever he wants to go, he would be there. So the soul or consciousness is extremely sensitive. They can hear and see. Extremely sensitive. So the first question is not a question. So when you chant mantra or Buddha's name or sutra, he or she would be able to hear. So a human being at the moment of death, their soul or consciousness, like when one's about to die, then their consciousness is extremely sensitive. The second question, giving to homeless animals or animals that we have affinity with, can we offer the food to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Bardo deliver it and then to give them away? So, like if we give to human beings, we would offer to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Bardo deliver first. However, when we give animal foods, is it inappropriate to offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas first? Thank you for your guidance. Thank you, Amitabha.
他是讲说，他要给这个动物吃。
So he wants to give food to the animals. And should he offer to the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas first?
我是认为是这样子啊。
My opinion is,
我记得有一个故事。
I remember a story, a real story.
因为刚来美国的留学生啊，他们对英文
A foreign student that just came to the United States, their English is not so good. They just passed TOEFL, and they went to Safeway or QFC, the groceries, to buy, to go to Safeway, QFC, Fred Meyer, Target, and they see canned food. And then you buy them and you eat those canned food. Then they turn out that what they had eaten were dog food or cat food. So, do you want to eat them?
对不对？在美国有很多的这个动物的饲料。
In America, there are lots of food for pets, not for human beings. Are you willing to eat them? Have you eaten them? People don't eat those. So, food that animal foods, and you better deliver and offer to the spirits of the animals. That would be fine, but not to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Because the human beings don't eat those, moreover, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's logic, right? So you infer from it. So human beings don't even eat those pet food, and you offer them to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? How could the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas eat them? How can you give animal foods to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? But you can offer to the animal spirits, and then you can give them away. So you can offer to the animal spirits and then give the food away to the animals. That would be fine. That was the second question. And then the next one from China, 莲花集合. Homage to the Buddha Guru. What is the difference between the Bodhisattva precepts or sila of the Brahmanet versus the Yogi Bodhisattva sila or precepts? And the first question. So what is the difference between the Bodhisattva sila of the Brahmanet versus the Yogi Bodhisattva precept. The Brahmanet Sutra especially talk about precepts or sila. Then you take a look of this Bodhisattva precept from these two places, and then you can tell the difference. If you've never read them before, but you just know that they exist. Anyone that has read the Bodhisattva Sila of the Brahmanet Sutra? Grandmaster has made the vow of lay Bodhisattva vow, Bodhisattva precept, Bodhisattva Sila. Most of the ordained Sangha member would have made that vows. And the Yoga Bodhisattva Sila. Anybody that has made that vow? In Tantrayana, there are two schools. One is Yogacara, the other one is Madhyamaka. In India, so Yogacara and Madhyamaka. Madhyamaka was founded by Nagarjuna, and Yoga was founded by Asanga. So Yogacara, that's consciousness only. And the Tibetan yogi is different. That's someone that cultivates spiritually in caves, and they don't live in cities. They cultivate in solitary, deep in the mountains. But if you live in temples or monasteries, they ordain lamas. But yogis stay at caves in mountains. But here, the yoga means belong. That means the guru of Yogacara, which are the 5 treatises of Maitreya, Vasubandhu, and Asanga. And Madhyamaka was Nagarjuna. And so the Bodhisattva Sila of the Brahmanet is the lay Bodhisattva precept, and Grandmaster had made that vow. There were 3 gurus then. One was the Venerable Elder Hui San, and the Venerable Elder Jie Guang, and the Venerable Elder Shen Tun, that conferred the Bodhisattva Sila upon me. And what I received was the Brahmanet Bodhisattva Sila, which is different from the Yoga Bodhisattva precept. And what are the differences? Anybody that has read the Yoga Bodhisattva Sila? None of us. Perhaps it's tantric precepts. But the Brahmanet Bodhisattva Sila belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. And the Yoga Bodhisattva Sila perhaps is the tantric bodhisattva precepts. Nobody has read it, right? Anybody? The person who asks is Lianhua Jihe. So, if you have read both of them, then you can differentiate between them. If you haven't, then you would not be able to differentiate. So, if then you read them and make the difference and then write them for us. I believe the Yoga Bodhisattva precept belongs to Tantrayana and the Brahmanet Bodhisattva precept belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. And I have made the vow for the Brahmanet Bodhisattva Sila for the laity. And I even remember the 3 gurus who conferred the vows. The Venerable Elders Xuan Tun, Hui San, and Chen Tun. And these 3 Venerable Elders have returned to the heavens. So you want to remember the 3 gurus. And for the lay bodhisattva precepts at Buddha school, the 3 gurus are Sakyamuni Buddha, Maitreya Bodhisattva, and Living Buddha Lien Sheng Grandmaster Lu. So you want to remember these 3 gurus who confer the vow. Of course, there are differences, and you would know if you read them. Did you check the internet? So what are the differences? Check both of them. There are many precepts. I think the Brahmanet Bodhisattva Sila has over 200 precepts. At that time, we spent 7 days making the vows, and they had to explain the precepts to us. Did you see them? If there are 2 different books, then there must be some differences. There are too many precepts. And our true Buddha school Bodhisattva precepts are many too. And if you have made the vow for Bodhisattva precepts, every time, every day after your Dharma practice, you have to chant the precepts. And the same for the monks and nuns. Every night you have to recite the precepts. You have to remember all the precepts. There must be some differences. His second question. What is the function of Siddhigarbha 7-star degree banner? can we enshrine it at home? How do we use it? Okay. The 7-star degree banner only exists in true Buddha school. And who drew this? Nobody else has this. If you place this decree banner, is to invite the souls and spirits. What does it mean? That during Bardo deliverance, you want to show this decree banner. Then you would have power to attract or to invite all the Bardo spirits and ghosts and spirits. So the 7-star. So the Big Dipper, the 7 stars, the northern stars, the 7 northern stars. So we use the power of the 7-star gods. So the 7-star decree can attract or invite all the spirits. So the function is to invite the spirits. So when you take this out, then it is during Bardo deliverance. Can you enshrine it at home? If you enshrine Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva and the 7-star degree banner, it's okay. However, you don't want to take it and then wave it. You don't want to wave it, because as soon as you wave it, all the ghosts and spirits and souls will come. So in there, it represents Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva and the Big Dipper. So if you have the 7-star degree banner and enshrine it at home, it's the same as you enshrine Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva and the Big Dipper. But don't wave it around, because that would be the banner to invite all the souls and spirits. Don't wave it. Here, this is it. The top, that's Om, which means the universe, heaven, the earth, and human, and 7 stars and Siddhigarbha. Sun and moon, heaven, earth, human, and the 7 stars. Don't move it. If you want to perform Bardo deliverance, then you can use it. Otherwise, don't use it. The third question. In Grandmaster's book number 193, The Sopping of Niujo River, on the article, the sleeping one or the awakened one, you wrote, When I practice the Bardo Dharma, I also attain the yang flame visualization. Could you please teach us this yang flame visualization? Amitabha. The yang flame visualization. So when you perform the Bardo Dharma. So what is Bardo? That means soul. Or in between. So soul. Ordinary people would say the soul. So in Chinese it's 中阴跟中有 Bardo. So between when you're alive and you die, you have died, the state between after you die to rebirth, at that time the state in between is called Bardo. You have died, but you're not reborn yet. So this state is called Bardo. Bardo. You have died. The state between your death to your rebirth. So the in-between state is called Bardo, and in common terms, soul. So when Grandmaster practiced the Bardo, although I am asleep, my soul leaves the body. So that's called the Bardo Dharma practice. I also attained the yang flame. So that's the bright rays of the sun is called the yang flame, just like the flame. So that bright rays of the sun radiated. There are many visualizations. First, you would be able to see the smoke. During meditation, typically, you use your yin and yang eyes. First, you would be able to see smoke, like a white mist appearing in front of your eyes. First, you see mist or smoke, and then you see like flies. Like the fireflies. And then you would see that flames, which is yang flame, which is the light around the sun, the bright light around the sun. So, what is this yang flame? Is the bright rays of light around the sun, or emitted by the sun. So when the soul leaves the body, the consciousness of the soul would be able to see smoke, mist, and also that bright rays of the sun. You have a cell phone or that book.
最近出版了一本那个属于整本的那个。
The recently published book called
不是天外之天，天外之天不会写到杨艳。
I did not write about Yang Yan in that book. Which book did I write about?
你们有没有读过我写的？先看到什么，再看到什么，再看到什么，再看到什么？有
about what you would see first.
才写过而已啊。
This is the recent book.
那本书你们都没有看。
You didn't read that book?
最近的一本，修法的心要跟口诀。
解脱道
啊？解脱道口诀呀、解脱道口诀你们看了没有？
the teachings to the path of liberation. Did it talk about this bright rays of the sun? You forgot?
应该会写到，你会先看到什么？到了中阴谦释的时候，你会先看到什么？看到什么？
That guidance during Bardo, first you would be able to see this and that and that. There was stages.
有的时候写了书，如果不重读的话，真的都会忘掉的。
So sometimes I read so many books, and if I don't read them again, you would forget. There was a book that I remember.
所以阳焰观呢，不是一种观想，不是一种观想，而是实际上。
So this Yang Yen is not a kind of visualization, but you see it.
看到了萤火。
You see it for yourself.
然后你又看到阳焰。
So you would be able to see this bright rays around the sun, which is one of them.
我现在都会问大家很多问题，结果每一个都是变成插头啊。
这个魔眼。
插头啊，就木头。
这里面有些。I ask a lot of questions, but nobody can answer.
那个你们受过正活中的那个在家菩萨戒
Have you made the Bodhisattva precept book? Have you ever received the Two Buddha School Bodhisattva precept book? Have you recited the Bodhisattva precepts then?
每天晚上做晚课的时候要诵戒，有诵戒没有？
Every night, after you finish your practice. Yeah, okay.
反正你们都不会打就对了。
So you don't know.
然后生活中的在家菩萨戒，生活中的在家菩萨戒是跟出家菩萨戒。
So the lay Bodhisattva precepts and the ordained Bodhisattva precepts and the Brahmanet Bodhisattva precepts, what are the differences?
观往经看过的人举手。
If you have read the Brahmanet Sutra, please raise your hand.
那是专门讲戒律的，那一本经是观往经，是专门讲戒律的。
The Brahmanet Sutra especially talk about precepts. Yan Wang said, just briefly browse over it. I feel really bad. Asking is the same as not asking.
小明在森林里面迷路，在那里瞎转了2天。
Xiaoming got lost in the mountain and turned around for a long time. Finally, he encountered another person and he was very happy. And that person was also so happy. I'm glad to see you. Can you please show me the way? I've been lost for so long. So, see, telling this joke, it's like talking about you. You're lost in this Brahmanet Sutra. So the lost person asks another lost person, can we walk out of this? And then we are all lost in here. They must be different. It's on the internet. Let me chant this. This is the Bodhisattva precept. It's by Guru Tsongkhapa. So, page 515 to 521. So, that's a publisher's note. So, Guru Tsongkhapa's so the Yoga Bodhisattva Sila is based on Tsongkhapa's. There must be Tantric Buddhism, but it's also spoken by Mahayana gurus. There's a Donlun treatise written by Donlun Ximing, Venerable Ximing, and also exposition on the yoga. So it's a mix of Mahayana and Tantrayana. So It's also based on Maitreya's. Maitreya's and Madhyamaka is Nagarjuna Aryabdeva, and Yogacara is Maitreya Bodhisattva, Asanga, and Vasubandhu. So the Maitreya's 5 treatises, and one of them is Yogacara Vatara. It's no use for me to talk about this because you've never read it before. How can I explain them? Now we will talk about Lamdre. Fourth, the instruction on maintaining the warmth at will. The following instruction on maintaining warmth at will, as stated in the verse, in quote, does not arise according to the graduated stage, end quote, refers that although having both gain and loss, the start of affinity does not gather according to the graduated stage. The spiritual experiences also do not come about according to the graduated stage. The warmth comes at will, therefore maintain at will the warmth. Spiritual experiences are not taking and not relinquishing gain and loss. How do you explain this piece? How do you explain this piece? Let me read it one more time. The following instruction on maintaining warmth at will, as stated in the verse, in quote, does not arise according to the graduated stage, end quote, refers that although having both gain and loss, the start of affinity does not gather according to the graduated stage. The spiritual experiences also do not come about according to the graduated stage. The warmth comes at will, therefore maintain it at will. The warm spiritual experiences of not taking and not relinquishing gain and loss. Okay. If you can explain it, please raise your hand. Whatever I ask, nobody answer. Today is a bad day. This piece is very difficult to explain. The wordings are so convoluted. Actually, there's only one purpose. It's the title. Maintain the warmth at will. In the process of practicing meditation, there are many spiritual experiences that will happen. During your Dharma practice, There are many stages with different practice methods and different spiritual experiences. The key point is you don't differentiate them. So, what this means, don't discern the different stages of spiritual cultivation and don't differentiate the different spiritual experiences. Just treat them as not gaining them or not losing them, and just let it be at the most primordial natural state. Like the title, maintain the warmth at will. So everything is at its intrinsic naturalness. Don't worry about the stages, the graduated stages, or the spiritual experiences. Just let it be intrinsically natural. I've said it so many times. I hate how the author used the wordings. Maintaining the warmth at will. That is, everything is at its primordial naturalness. That's also difficult to explain. So what kind of spiritual experiences, what kind of methods of which graduated stages you use, don't worry about them. Just maintain its naturalness. That's what this excerpt means. Do you understand? What time is it now? 10. The kids ask his dad, "What is a drunkard?" He points to the moon in the sky. See, there's one moon there. If you see 2 or 3 or 4 moons, then you're drunk. Dad points to the moon. See, there's only one moon, so you're not drunk. But if you see it as 2 moons or 3 or 4 moons or many moons, that means you're drunk. And the kid said, "But Dad, there's no moon tonight." What is being drunk? At the hospital emergency, there's a 6-year-old child because he ate a live cockroach this morning. But he went to the emergency not because he ate the cockroach, but because his grandma was afraid that the cockroach was still alive, so she fed him a cockroach killer.
为什么我们一定要在这个方往经菩萨戒跟瑜伽菩萨戒里面呢，
So why should we just haggle over those bodhisattva precepts of the Brahman net and the yoga, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and we still couldn't find it? And then why did you ask such a question? Have you made the vows of the Brahmanet Bodhisattva Sila? If you have, then you have. If you have made the vows of the Yoga Bodhisattva precept, that's fine. What use is there of comparing them? So it's as if you have taken the cockroach. You eat the cockroach and then you eat the cockroach, the insect killer, the insect repellent or the cockroach repellent. You wasted so much of our time. Grace Master understand about the precepts. And I know I have this Brahmanet Sutra book, Sila, Brahmanet Sila. And we know about the yoga. It was written by Tsongkhapa and the Venerable Taisi. And my guru, Venerable Elder Yin Xun, was the disciple of Taisi. My guru in Mahayana Buddhism, Yin Xun, Venerable Elder. And then the one that translated so much, many of tantric sutras is called Fa Zun. So, which he eventually took refuge in Tantrayana. But the Venerable Elder Yin Xun likes the three treatises of Nagarjuna, which is the Madhyamakavatara, the 12 treatises and the 100 treatises. So Fa Zun was a translator, and he was in Sichuan. So Fa Zun gave his translation to the Venerable Elder Yin Xun, who edited because his mastery of the language was better. So both were practicing in Sichuan together. One is Tantrayana, one is the 3 treatises, and then they argued and fought, and finally the Venerable Yin Xun fell from the mountain and lost his teeth. I was talking about my guru at the Jingyi mountain in Sichuan province, and they were both disciples of the same guru, Taisi. One believes in Tantrayana, the other one in 3 treatises of Nagarjuna, and they always argued and finally fought, and then he fell off the mountain and hurt his teeth. Amitabha, that was past lives. A man with one leg amputated was begging together with his little kid, and a woman was pitiful and give $100 bill and ask, "Why is your dad lost his leg?" And the kid replied, "Because for earning a living, and I must suffered greatly then. But don't worry, because my dad's leg recover every night." It turned out to be a scam. Okay, that's all for tonight. Om Mani Padme Hum.